What's up, everybody? It's your girl Erica, and welcome to my YouTube page. Happy Monday. I hope all is well, and I hope your week has gotten off to a great start. I am here to, of course, talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Of course, this is season 16, episode 6, and it was called Interrupted or Peace Interrupted. As you can see, guys, I'm here sitting in a pair of pajamas because that's how I felt about the episode. The episode to me was pretty lackluster, and so normally when I get on here, I'm dressed and all have myself together and have on my clothes. But today, of course, there's nothing wrong. I feel perfectly fine. I'm clean and all ready for the day. But I just said to myself, okay, I'm going to just talk about it in my pajamas. Like, okay, it's fine. Because the episode there really wasn't a whole lot that I can talk about it, but it wasn't exciting, guys. It wasn't. It's just like, okay, like, a lackluster episode. Let me just say this. This was only episode 6. Normally, they will probably do at least 12 more episodes. The biggest thing of the season happened in episode 5. So what else is going to happen this season? It's kind of like I'm already, and I'm not going to say I'm losing interest, but I'm just trying to figure out what else is going to happen in this season. I know Phaedra's returning, but it just seems like what happened in episode 5 probably should have happened in the last maybe 2 to 3 episodes of the season, and then we could sort of go right into the reunion. But for it to happen so soon in the actual season is kind of like a drag, and I really don't know if they're going to really be able to pick up momentum for the rest of the season. Of course, some people may say, I'm being negative about it, or I'm not being optimistic about it, but I just don't I don't know where they're going to go. How do you guys feel about it? Do you kind of feel the same way? Are you excited to see what's going to happen? Of course, we know Kenya's gone and she won't be back, but just let me know how you feel about that. So let's get into it. Because that's really the biggest question. Is this season going to be okay without Kenya? But anyway, we pick up. The episode starts 48 hours after Kenya's hair spa event. And we know what happened there. Kenya revealed some graphic photos of Britt. Britt is at home with her husband. She says she hasn't slept in 24 hours. She's going through the motions about what this did for her, what it did to her, knowing that this photo was released. It triggered her. She's been reading all the comments on social media. She's worried about what it's going to do to her career. She says, she can't believe Kenya did this. She bought her $250 worth of flowers, and it was supposed to be an event about her daughter, and then she turned around and did this. Normally, or I would say under normal circumstances, I would not like what happened to Britt. Public humiliation or public shame is not something that I agree with. I know I probably in my normal day-to-day, well, I'm not going to say my normal day-to-day life because it is my normal day-to-day life. But normally I would have been very hurt for Britt. But in this case, watching the show, having watched all 5 episodes leading up to this, Kenya, Brittany just wanted it with Kenya. Pistol packing Britt, she asked for it. We're here. I don't like what Kenya did. I didn't agree with what Kenya did or how she did it. But at the same time, had Brittany not made the comments, or Britt not made the comments that she made, perhaps we wouldn't even be here today. So, it's a woulda, shoulda, coulda scenario, but we are here and we have to deal with what happened. And what happened is that you sort of came after Kenya and she responded, and you don't like her response. And unfortunately, you got the backlash of it and you got the embarrassment of it. That's what happened. So anyway, that was that. Kelly had a conversation with her 17-year-old daughter. I like Kelly. Kelly's giving us a lot of personal story, and that's what we need sometimes with these housewives. It's more than just showing up for brunch and dinner or the vacations, and you're carrying this bag or you're wearing this shoe or you're wearing the latest whatever, whatever. You know, we also need some personal story. We need some backdrop to these stories that that feels a little bit relatable in a sense where we're getting to know this particular housewife. And Kelly is giving us that. So she told us that, you know, she has a good relationship with her children. She has all girls. Her oldest daughter has a different father, but her ex or her soon to be ex-husband was actually raising her 17-year-old daughter as his own. And of course, because he's gone, you know, it does sort of have an effect on her. And the only thing that I kept saying is that I could tell that Kelly wants to protect her children from this man. He doesn't seem to be a good man, and she's trying to do everything she can to make sure that her daughters don't miss a beat. And the only thing I kept saying is that her daughter seems to be on the right road, and I can only hope and pray that it doesn't cause abandonment issues for her. She doesn't sort of go looking for what she doesn't have in her father or in her stepfather from another man. Hopefully, you know, she would just stay focused and do what she wants to do in life. And like I said, until she can, you know, really meet the right guy for herself. And that's all I can say about that. But kudos to Kelly for sharing. We also saw a scene with Drew and Ralph. Let me just say this, guys. I know a lot of people. There are a lot of people who can't stand Drew. They don't like Drew. They don't want Drew on the show. Drew has been on Real Housewives of Atlanta since season 13, and we know all the situation with Ralph. Let me just say this. I don't like Ralph. I think Ralph is a liar. I think that Ralph is everything that Drew said he is and more. Ralph is a liar. He's narcissistic, and he's definitely verbally and emotionally abusive. I can't say all of what else he's doing, but from what I can see just watching the show, I can see that he is that type of guy. People like to harp on the fact that Drew's a liar. Well, let me say this. Drew may be a liar, but she ain't lying more than Ralph is. Ralph is definitely lying way more than Drew. And the thing about it is, to me, he just wants to be on the camera. He wants to, even their little conversation, I didn't like it. He wanted to have something with Drew. He wanted to sort of pick at her and then turn it on her and flip it on her and make it look as if she's the bad guy. And I wasn't feeling that. So we can do without Ralph. Ralph, I don't need to see you. I don't need your confessionals. Matter of fact, I'm hoping and praying that this divorce can be finalized very soon so that we don't have to see Ralph anymore. If we see Ralph, it's because maybe he's picking up the children, or maybe we don't even have to see him at all because he won't be a part of Drew's life, or he will even be in that house anymore. Because again, Ralph is a liar. And I'm just very shocked at how people don't even mind watching Drew being mistreated in front of our faces with somebody like Ralph, all because they don't like her. You know, if you haven't experienced a man like that, you know someone, probably a sister, a cousin, or best friend who has been married to, or has been in a relationship, or has a baby or children by a man like that. And I'm telling you, it's not good. And, you know, just to watch him in action is like, I don't want no parts of Ralph's. You know what I'm saying? Like, Drew is who she is, but guess what? Ralph is, I can't take him. So we don't want to see him at all. So anyway, the girls go over to Shamia's house for like lunch or dinner. And Portia and Drew, they are there. You can still tell there's some tension there. You know, they haven't really had that real conversation. And I understand, you know, of course, yeah, you know, there are some ways to look at the situation between Portia and Drew. A lot of people feel like Drew was wrong and she should have told Portia a lot more about their relationship. And also Portia's also saying that she just doesn't want Dennis filming with Drew. Well, I probably feel a little different from other people. I felt like, yeah, maybe, you know, Drew could have done a better job at explaining to Portia what was going on, but I really just feel like Portia would have had an issue with it either way. And my thing is, Drew has her project. If you haven't heard I Did This to Me, you need to listen to it. Like I said, don't let your personal feelings for Drew get in the way of her music or listening to her music, because I'm telling you, every single track on that project, you can listen to it nonstop. As a matter of fact, it may be on repeat. And Drew did an excellent job. Her and Dennis, they work well together. I don't really know what his role in it was. I don't know if it was just his record label. I don't know if he was doing some type of production on it. I really don't know all the ins and outs, but we do know that Drew and Dennis work together. And I will say that if this is the result of them working together, then kudos to them, and they need to continue to work together, because this should put Drew in another place in the music industry, and it should put some more eyeballs on her, because it is a really, 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 really good project. If you like good R&B music, if you like slow jams, if you just like that little vibe, I'm telling y'all, Drew did her thing. Shout out to Drew Sador. Shout out to Dennis for, putting up the money or just putting her on his label. It is that good. So, Portia, you just have to eat that. Like, you must be, like, she has a song called Delulu. You are delusional if you think that Drew and Dennis are not a good combination and that they don't work well together, because they actually do. Despite the fact that that's your baby daddy, girl, it's about that money. It's about that paper. And if, Drew and Dennis can make some paper together and they can continue on this, they can continue on this path, then I think that they will do extremely, extremely well. So, anyway, just got off subject a little bit, but anyway, because that's not what it was about, but I could just tell that there was tension between Drew and Portia while they were there. And also Angela's coming through. Angela's coming through like the charade of the group. She's coming through with the questions, but Angela is a little more smooth in how she does it. Portia kind of poked at Angela when she had that event at the bank, and she said that she knew something about Charles. So, Angela didn't like it. She did tell Portia that, asked her what did she know about Charles, and she kind of said that she didn't like it. But also Angela kind of put some pressure on Portia to say, hey, you're the leader of this group. You're here. There's so many things going on with other people. Angela's been into it with Shamia. Britt and Kenya clashed. At one point there could have been something between Kelly and Portia. Portia and Drew are at it, but Portia, you're sitting back, just not saying anything, not telling us anything. What's up? And that was the vibe that Angela was on, like, what's going on with the divorce? And of course, Portia used, PJ. She was just saying, it's sad because PJ asked about Simon, and I told her that he was at work, and she was asking when is he coming back. And I think she said she texted Simon and told Simon that PJ had asked about him, and he didn't care. He didn't even respond. Well, Portia, it is what it is. Simon is who he is, or who he was even before he met you, and he's just that. He doesn't want to be bothered. Whatever he got from you or didn't get from you is over. The thrill is gone. He's moving on. Portia said something key in season 6. She was telling the girls, I painted this picture for you guys, when she was talking about when she was married to Cordell. She said, I painted this picture for you guys, and I wanted you guys to look at me a certain way, or to see it, my marriage a certain way, and to see it, it's a picture, an image that I painted for you. Well, Portia, 10 years later, you're still trying to do that same thing. You're still painting these pictures and trying to create these perfect images in your mind of what a relationship should be. And it wasn't that. The way you met Simon, it doesn't appear to be right. You actually got engaged to Simon. Your sister even said, I think, 2 weeks after you guys met. Of course, you had all of these weddings. You wanted to live this fairy tale life, but it's just not that. And I think that a lot of the women, especially being on television and reality television, they have to realize that some of these men, they want to be in the spotlight. They want the publicity. They want to be seen as well. And if they have to woo you and love you and basically, throw those legs back and give it to you a certain way just to lock you down, they will do it. I could say a lot more. I'm not even sure what all we can say on here, but it just seems like Portia just has this idea in her mind of what a man should be. It's almost like from like the 1940s or 50s. Like, this is what a man is supposed to do. This is what a man is supposed to do. And I know Portia got that from her mom and her grandmother. Well, Portia, what worked for them is not going to work for you. And you have to sort of grow up, and you have to sort of kind of chart your own path with men and stop worrying about what you've been told that men are supposed to be, because even how men were 50, 60 years ago, they're not that, and that's what you want. And so you're constantly failing at this thing because you have this idea in your mind of what they're supposed to be, and they're not that. Like Portia, sometimes you don't even see a man or know who he is and what he's about until he's under pressure. You keep saying he was my protector, and he was this and he was that. Well, Portia, y'all were in the honeymoon phase. You didn't even get to the part in life where you could see what he was made of. And maybe that's why you're in the position that you're in, because when the fire got hot, Simon is not who you think he is. So maybe he's showing you right now, because that's when it matters. It matters who a man is to you when the pressure is on him. Will he stand? Will he still protect you? Will he include you? Will he love you through it? Will he be strong enough to handle the pressure and not turn his back on you or turn to other people and other things? That's what it's all about, Portia. It's not about the image and what it looks like to your family and to your friends. It's more about who he is behind closed doors to you. And that's what people don't understand. Of course, you want a man who's upstanding in public as well. But at the end of the day, you need to know who and what. You don't know what a man is made of until he's under pressure, baby girl. And obviously, he can't stand because he got a little pressure and he's out the door, and y'all are getting a divorce. And I'm not even sure now that, he wasn't ready to get out, because, you're saying that it was you. But I'm sure he was ready to get out as well, because maybe the marriage or who you are it wasn't all what it cracked up to be. And that's what we're seeing. So anyway, Portia's crying. The girls hug her. Drew doesn't really make a move because Drew, like Drew said, we're not close. Like, I understand what she's going through. I know what she's feeling. But at the same time, we're just in that bad place. And so I don't even feel comfortable reaching out to her and comforting her in this moment. And, it is what it is. So anyway, Kelly, the biggest thing of the night was Kelly had, she had a little brunch for the girls. And they all sat outside. Britt was the last to come. And of course, Britt thought that this was going to be, a time where the girls were going to rally around her and just basically boost her up and tell her that, they were very sorry, and they were going to sort of love on her and sort of really just kiss up to her. That's really what I think Britt thought. And it turned out to be something else. And Britt, Angela is the one, like I said, once again, she's the MVP of the night. Angela was asking the hard questions, and she was like, okay, you have to also take ownership, for your part in it as well. And, of course, Brittany, Brittany always, oh, I'm so sweet. But Brittany, you're really not that sweet. And the minute Angela asked you one little simple question, you were already getting ready to flip out. And, she was saying, she was playing a victim. Oh, my license is now in question because of everything that happened. And Angela was like, whoa. I have that same license. Like, are you sure? Because it doesn't happen that way. Well, Brittany couldn't even answer, or Britt couldn't even answer the questions. She was just going back and forth with Angela. Angela was like, I'm not coming against you. You're not under fire with me, but I'm here to ask you the questions because what you're saying is just not adding up. And I appreciated Angela for doing that, because we're not going to sit here and just bash Kenya. You played your part in it, and we're not going to sit here and just allow you to play the victim because maybe the other girls don't understand all the things about licensing or licensures and stuff like that. No, we're not going to do that. I'm glad that Angela stepped in, spoke up, and spoke out, because that's what we need. Because other than that, we're going to get these girls just playing around all for the rest of the season trying to be dolled up, and we're getting absolutely nothing from them. So I was appreciative of that. Of course, they ended the little brunch on a good note. They were doing the electric slide, but again, these girls just seem to be lost. I don't really know where this show is going, guys. Like I said, the Real Housewives of Atlanta was my favorite Housewives franchise for years. I definitely fell off with them in seasons 14 and 15. Didn't really care for them, those seasons at all. And here we are in 16, and I'm trying to be optimistic about it, but I can honestly say that now I'm not as optimistic because I really don't know what they're doing. I don't know where they're going. The personal stories, they are there, but I think that people really don't want to share. I really think that, it just doesn't seem to be going in the right direction. So let me know what you guys think about it. Like I said, I'm not enthused about it. I'm not crazy about what I see that's going on. I know they're supposed to be going to, Portia's planning a trip for them to go to Nashville, and I see some people getting into it, but that doesn't tickle my fancy anymore either. Just because the girls are getting into it, it's like, okay, but getting into it about what? A lot of their arguments or their disagreements now are so stupid and petty to the point where it doesn't even make sense anymore. So let me know what you guys think. Did you like last night's episode? How did you feel about it? Drop down in the comments and let me know. Also, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I have been doing the reviews for quite a while now. And like I said, I know everyone doesn't like to comment, but I would greatly appreciate it if you did. If you don't, just thanks for stopping by and watching. And we shall see what happens in the future. To me, the Real Housewives of Atlanta, their future is at stake, because I really don't know where else they're going to go or what else they can do at this point. But anyway, I'm going to continue watching. So I will see you guys on the next video. Like I said, have a great day and a great week, and I will see you soon. Bye.